Let's start with a hard truth. Running a traditional coffee shop is a trap. It's not about a lack of passion or hard work, it's that the business model is fundamentally broken. Your two biggest costs, rent and labor, are fixed and high. To sell more, you need more staff, but more staff means higher costs. You end up running on a hamster wheel, faster and faster, but getting nowhere. The model simply doesn't scale.
Okay, I'm with you on the struggle. It's brutal for small business owners, but the solution you're hinting at, replacing the barista with a robot, feels like you're solving a math problem by erasing the soul of the equation.
It's not about erasing the soul, it's about creating a new equation. Look at the Shanghai model. It treats the coffee station not as a service point, but as a microfactory. The numbers are fascinating. You hit your survival line at just 30 cups a day. At 60 cups, you break even on all costs. But the magic happens at the prosperity line at 120 cups a day. The machine becomes a serious cash flow generator. It turns a risky service business into a predictable asset.
Hold on. That prosperity line of 120 cups sounds great in a spreadsheet, but who is buying all this coffee? We're talking about a market saturated with options. The idea that you can just drop a sterile, faceless box onto a corner and expect it to print money feels incredibly optimistic. It ignores why people go to coffee shops in the first place.
But that's the point. The technology itself addresses that old problem of the faceless box. Older models, like the ones from Japan, were black boxes where everything mixed internally: milk, sugar, coffee. It was an operational nightmare of clogging and contamination. The genius of this new model is the decoupled architecture.
The decoupled architecture? That sounds like sterile engineering jargon.
It's the breakthrough. You separate the heart from the hands. The heart is a top-tier, Swiss-made coffee engine that only ever touches hot water and ground coffee. The hands are an industrial robotic arm that does all the messy work, moving the cup to separate dispensers for ice, milk, syrups. Nothing sticky ever enters the core engine. The risk of breakdowns drops to almost zero. This isn't a vending machine, it's industrial-grade reliability.
So it's a more reliable factory. I get it. But coffee isn't just a manufactured good. You can talk about Swiss-made engines all day, but you're describing a process devoid of craft. Can an industrial arm that moves a cup from point A to point B truly replicate the art, the intuition, the soul of a great cup of coffee made by a person? I'm not convinced.
It's not trying to replicate the art, it's perfecting the science of consistency, which is a different kind of value.
But is it a value customers actually want? Look at the real world. Starbucks, the biggest player in the game, went all in on automation to reduce staff. And what happened? Their own CEO, Brian Niccol, came out and admitted the strategy failed. He said the equipment did not adequately address customer experience needs. They are now actively scaling back automation to hire more human baristas. If the company with more data on coffee drinkers than anyone on the planet couldn't make it work, why should we believe this time is different?
That's a classic case of misapplication. You're mixing up two entirely different markets. Starbucks failed because they tried to automate the third place, the neighborhood hub where atmosphere and connection are the product. Of course, a robot can't do that. The Shanghai model is explicitly designed for high-traffic, grab-and-go locations. Think airports, hospitals, busy office lobbies, places where speed and 24/7 availability are what people actually value.
Fine, let's talk about those locations. You're asking an operator to spend between $75,000 and $150,000 upfront for this machine, plus another $15,000 to $20,000 a year in maintenance. You call that liberating the small business owner? That's not a solution. That's a debt trap. A human barista costs maybe $50,000 a year. This isn't a revolution for the little guy. It's a rich man's gamble.
It's an asset purchase versus a recurring expense. You own the machine. It's capital, not just a line item for wages that goes up every year.
And what happens when your six-figure asset breaks down? You claim almost zero breakdowns, but reality is messy. We've all seen the videos like the Blue Hill coffee robot failing spectacularly, spilling drinks everywhere. When that robot has a calibration issue or a clogged grinder, your entire business shuts down. There's no human there to troubleshoot, to apologize, to save the customer's experience. It's a total failure point.
But that's exactly why the decoupled architecture is so brilliant. Those old integrated machines were a nightmare. The Blue Hill video proves the point of the old model's failure. With a decoupled system, a failure isn't a catastrophe. It's a simple, modular swap. You're not rebuilding an engine on site. You're swapping a dispenser. It minimizes downtime because it was designed for the real world, not a perfect lab.
So it's a better designed machine that still lacks the one thing that can smooth over any technical glitch: a human being.
Okay, look. I think we might be arguing about two different things. This technology isn't meant to replace your favorite neighborhood cafe where you chat with the barista. It's not about replacing the human. It's about, finally, after decades of terrible options, replacing the vending machine with something that actually makes a great, consistent cup of coffee.
I can agree with that. If I'm in a hospital at 3 a.m. and my choices are a stale black box machine or your Shanghai model robot, I am taking the robot every single time. But that's the crucial distinction. The context is everything. Don't bring that industrial arm into my local bookstore cafe. That experience isn't broken and it doesn't need fixing with automation.
And I'll absolutely give you that. For a premium $8 single origin latte, the human touch, the conversation, the expertise that is part of the product you are selling, that experience has immense value.
So we're landing on a bifurcated market. There's coffee as utility, where speed, 24/7 access, and consistency are paramount. That's where your microfactory thrives. And then there's coffee as ritual, which is about community, craft, and connection. And that space will always, always be human-led.
Exactly. And maybe the most exciting future is a hybrid of the two. Imagine a cafe where automation handles all the back-of-house grunt work, the grinding, the inventory, the repetitive tasks, freeing up the human baristas to focus entirely on customer hospitality and the art of the craft. That's optimizing efficiency without sacrificing the soul.
Now, that's an application I can actually get behind, but it still leaves us with some big questions. As AI gets more sophisticated, will we ever truly bond with a robotic barista? Or is human empathy a non-negotiable part of our morning ritual?
And on the other side, if this model really does lower the survival line to just 30 cups a day, are we about to see high-quality coffee machines appear in places we never thought possible before? In apartment lobbies, university libraries, or even high school hallways, the entire landscape could change.